Hello and welcome to another bite-sized faith video. I was definitely not planning on filming today. I do not feel ready to be filming today, but I felt like I needed to, and I was called to, coming live from Hawaii. No, maybe I am, maybe I'm not, you'll never know. So anyways, this is a very specific kind of a faith-based video. We're just talking about a little bit of jumping and taking leaps of faith. The title of this is I was only engaged for 3 days. And so I wanted to kind of just get into that, how sometimes God will call you into doing some things that just are very wild. Like it just feels very unreasonable, illogical, at least for me. There are a lot of times where the Lord will call me to do things where it goes against my comfort. It goes against like what my plan was. It goes against what people advised me to do. And I just have learned to take the leap of faith, to do what God called me to do. I was only engaged for 3 days because, long story short, we did talk more about this in our love story playlist that I have on my channel. But long story short, me and Jarrell were friends. I had no interest, at least on my part, of doing anything more with that until God sat us down and had us have an impromptu date. Then we started talking more, and then a few months later we were in an actual relationship. And then we were planning on being engaged for like years, at least for me. You plan the wedding, you get to know each other. It was long distance, so we wanted our families to get to know each other and all that stuff, but it just didn't end up happening that way, where the Lord basically told me, the next time Jarrell flies out to see you, you will be getting married. And that was like a couple months in advance that the Lord told me to do that. And we were just like, oh my gosh, like how are we going to tell our parents? So fortunately, our parents basically said, we trust your walk with God enough to know that we can trust you with this decision. But they were not necessarily like 100% like for it. Like this was our plan all along. Like we want our kids to rush into marriage or anything like that. But what I have noticed is a lot of times people can be on board with you taking a leap of faith, usually if it benefits them in some way. And like I said, this is a very specific topic. Do not generalize this, but I've noticed this many times in my walks of faith, steps of faith that I've done. A lot of times God will tell me not even to tell people because he's like, you don't need all of the extra advice. You don't need all of the people trying to change your mind about things. You just need to trust me, because I know for me, if I tell people, it will be harder for me to follow through if they don't agree with it. But a lot of times, if it's something that benefits someone else and it's a huge leap of faith or a huge thing that God is calling you to do that seems illogical, unreasonable, they're like, oh yeah, like it's great. Like we've given a car away. We've given thousands of dollars. We've helped people in many huge ways. And not once were they like, no, don't. Please don't do that. But if it came to something that God told us to do, didn't really benefit them in any way, and even it might have caused their life to change in maybe not the most positive way for them. Like let's say we moved to another state or something. That's just like, well, I don't know if God's really calling you to do this. I don't know if God's really calling you to quit your job. I don't know if God's really calling you to move. I don't know if God's really calling you to do this. But if it benefits people, a lot of times they're like, of course I'll take the money. Of course I'll take the plane tickets. Of course I'll take the free car. Of course I'll take this. Of course I'll take all of your time that you're willing to give me, because of course it must be God. And God doesn't always do things in your life that other people understand or that other people benefit from. However, he will make sure to give you signs, to give you peace, to give you confirmation so that you can continue to do it. And there will always be a blessing attached to it. And it doesn't mean it'll happen right away. And that's something I also want to talk about, is like there's been leaps of faith that we've taken that have been so hard, and we have struggled, y'all. And there's been times where he's told us to take a leap of faith and almost instantaneously there was blessing and there was overflow. But it reminds me of the scripture in Philippians 4 verses 12 through 13, and if I'm wrong I'll put the right one up here, but I think it's Philippians 4 verses 12 through 13 that talks about, I know what it's like to be in lack, I know what it's like to have plenty, I've learned to be content in all things, and I can do all things through Christ who strengthened me. So I'll include that scripture in the caption too of this video. But yeah, there's many times in your walk with God that will be very slim pickings, and there will be times that are like, wow, the overflow, the abundance, like it's real. And so I just want you to remember to be content in all of that, to follow him in all of that, when it doesn't make sense and when it feels like it blows up in your face, or when it does make sense and it's amazing and glorious and wonderful. You know, God can be in all of that. Make sure that you're having a deep relationship with him, that you're checking in with him, that things line up with scripture, that you're prayerful, that you're fasting. grow your relationship with Jesus so that you know immediately when he tells you to do something, this is the Lord. But yeah, I just wanted to encourage you guys that sometimes sometimes the Lord will just really call you to take these really great leaps of faith. And if you are discouraged because of what other people say, or because they don't agree with you, or because it doesn't benefit them, just trust God. I've never been disappointed trusting the Lord. It's been hard. I won't say it's always been easy, but I've never been disappointed trusting God in any leap of faith that I've done. So that's all I wanted to say. If you have any prayer requests, if you have any of your own advice, if you have your own situation and circumstance that lines up with this that you want to share your testimony about, leave it in the comments and I will talk to you there. All right, I'll see you guys soon. Bye.